You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
It's the 26th staging of the PSOJ Hall of Fame Gala, where Joseph M. Matalon, the chairman of the ICD Group Holdings Limited, is being inducted. Business Access TV is here to share in the celebration and to pay homage. I'm Amashika Lauren. Stay tuned for all the highlights. He's the president of the PSOJ. How are you doing tonight, Howard?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, just a little recap in terms of what is the mandate of the PSOJ and why have you remained so relevant to your members over the years?
The PSOJ, being an umbrella organization, that is, it's an organization of organizations, has a national reach. And having a national reach, it compels us to be an advocate for national policy. So I think that that is why over the years the PSOJ has been expected to have a point of view on national issues. That is what has kept it relevant, I believe. It's not a sectoral, a narrow sectoral organization. It speaks broadly to all of the stakeholders in the private sector, and that's a lot.
All right, what are some of the activities that you did over the past year?
Mostly run my mouth.
But you've been advocating on some issues.
We've been advocating for a national security, more of a citizen security policy, one that is not just a narrow fight against crime, which is part of it, but one that gives our citizens hope and confidence, and therefore brings them into the compulsory prevention of crime. The other thing we have been doing is speaking to the environment. We have been speaking to economic issues. We've been speaking to the role of the university. We've spoken to our detriment about the business processing sector. So what we are trying to do is to create dialogue, engender dialogue, and get people talking about national issues, because we do not talk enough. Communication is a dying art in this country.
All right, so Joseph M. Matalon, the chairman of the ICD Group Holdings Limited, is going to be inducted tonight. Any words to the person being honored?
It's well deserved. And what I will be saying is that Joseph represents the human face of capitalism, right? And the nationalism that more of our leaders need to emulate.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Howard. Enjoy the rest of your night. So I have with me the CEO of the KLE Group, Mr. Gary Matalon. Gary, it's been a phenomenal year for your company. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure has. It's been a busy year. Getting ready to start the real estate development in Bessa. We did the model unit and did some preliminary stuff with that project, so it's ready to kick into full gear. We're very excited about that. The franchising business has blown up. We opened 2 franchises this year, one in Montego Bay, which is doing amazingly well. We opened in May, and just not less than a month ago, we opened our first one offshore of Jamaica in London, England, so that's a very big deal for us.
What more can we expect in 2019?
Well, you can expect a lot more in the UK. We have a lot more to come there, as well as other locations that we're pretty far down the road with various people that have been in the pipeline for a while now.
All right, so the 26th inductee for the PSOJ Hall of Fame is Mr. Joseph Matalon. Any words to him?
Yes, first of all, thanking him very much for being our first chairman when we listed our company on the stock exchange. He was the chairman of the KLE Group. And he taught us a lot, and he really kind of paved the way, set the stage for us for good governance, for strategic business decision making, everything. He's really been a mentor to me, more than family, and really, can't say congrats enough. I mean, really, really proud and happy that he's getting this honor. He deserves it.
How are you feeling tonight?
I am good, I'm good.
All right, so you are basically celebrating 1 year of your tenure. What was it like this past year?
Exciting. Lots of work, busy, lots of things doing. A lot of changes happening at the company, but it's great because we're growing at an extremely good rate.
What can we expect in 2019?
Exciting things are on the horizon.
You're not ready to let us know?
No, I have to be careful. You're going to see it in a couple weeks or a couple of months. You're going to see it. Exciting things in store for Supreme. We're going to take our business to a place that it has never been before.
We're definitely looking forward to that. Mr. Joseph Matalon is being inducted tonight. Any words to him?
I wish I can be like him. I mean, he's such a nation builder. He's one who's never afraid or shied away from anything. He believes in giving back. He works hard, and he's a very humble man. So I wish we all can be like him. I wish him the very best, and I think him being inducted in the Hall of Fame is another step in his illustrious career.
Do you have any words for the inductee tonight, Mr. Matalon?
Well, I would offer him my very sincere and heartfelt congratulations on being inducted into the Hall of Fame of the PSOJ. I think it is a well-deserved honor because Joe Matalon is one of that very distinct breed of entrepreneur. He's a very vibrant and enterprising investor, manager of business, but he has spent a tremendous amount of time giving service to his country. He was very much responsible for crafting the whole tax reform program. He devoted a lot of time, energy, his own personal resources to it, for a period extending for about 10 years. It was a passion of his. And beyond that, he also devoted a lot of time to the DBJ, spanning administrations of both the JLP and the PNP, and really helped lift the profile of the DBJ and its support for businesses. And probably less well known is that he's supportive of new business startups as an angel investor and a supporter of young entrepreneurs trying to get themselves going. He's really a very, very unique personality in the world of business.
So Jamaica would benefit from 10,000 more Joseph Matalon?
20, 30, 40, as many as possible.
All right, in terms of collaboration with the government and PSOJ, why is this organization so important and beneficial?
I think it's important to have an organization that is representative of a major part of the productive structure of the country, and an organization which, particularly in recent times, has been very sensitive to a wider range of social issues in the country. Because ultimately we are not just about producing, we are about creating a kind of society which offers opportunities for everyone, which can improve the quality of life for the majority of people, but that must be based on a sound productive base. And currently the PSOJ has been very much active in trying to make representations as to how we can get a more effective social and governance order in place in the country.
And on that note, we go to our first break. Join us on stage when we return.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment. Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
We have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would kill people.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now let's join at the main stage.
I now welcome PSOJ family, our president, Mr. Howie Mitch, to give the official welcome.
It's my pleasure to welcome you to this event where we are celebrating and honoring a Jamaican business icon, a visionary, a philanthropist, a transformational leader, Joseph M. Mattelon. Joseph, or Little Joe, as some people call him, is more than a deserved inductee into the PSOJ Hall of Fame. He's respected by his peers, as is evidenced by the turnout tonight. It represents, though, the influence that he has created, not only through his brilliant commercial endeavors, but through his philanthropic activities. Joseph's contribution to Jamaica's development is undeniable. You know, the PSOJ has always advocated for and will continue to advocate for leaders of substance, both in the private and in the public sector. Leaders who can truly transform this nation. We need to look no further than Joseph Mattelon for a real-life example of a leader who has made an indelible impact without compromising integrity and character. An in-depth analysis or a cursory glance of his accomplishments will explain to you that this is a man who represents what it means to be a nation builder. I stand here tonight to charge all the business leaders present to actively work to create an environment that will both inspire and foster the next generation of leaders who will have to shoulder the mounting responsibility of helping Jamaica realize its full potential, and from whose ranks we would one day choose to celebrate at this forum. I may sound like a broken record, which is what my wife said. But as business leaders, we must acknowledge that it cannot be business as usual. It is not enough for us to sit and complain about what is wrong and what could be better. We must be proactive. And we must together, because half a nation don't cut it, we must together create the understanding among all our people that all hands must be on deck in furtherance of the achievement of our national goals that we have so sacrificed for over the last 10 to 12 years. It cannot be understated that none of this should be done at the cost of transparency, accountability, and corporate social responsibility. Our leaders must operate in a manner that demonstrates that their power and influence is transparent and accountable, and they must play an active role in empowering marginalized communities and giving them the confidence that they too are a part of Jamaica's progress. You know, coming back to Joe, because whether we like it or not, it's his night. There's much talk about and much history as to his contribution to tax reform. And I am, as an aside, a little concerned that we have lost some of the momentum. And it's something that the PSOJ needs to take up that cudgel again. Okay, and I pledge to do that if I am elected in December. Why, you think those are the only politicians here? I don't understand you. Joseph has the youth program. He has the Multicare Foundation. He has so many things working on that the public don't know about. He has played more than his part in helping Jamaica realize its potential by empowering, educating, and bringing those who are marginalized into the forefront and helping them find their niche and contribute positively to society. And we all must do more, because if without doing that, the nation cannot move forward. 10% can't drag it up. Has to be everybody. And we have to find a way to catch up. So I asked the question, what are we doing to contribute to our nation's progress? And I'm not talking about charity. We do a lot. The private sector does a lot in charity. But what we have to do is to start to focus on things that work to the greater good of our country. And we must work on them together. And that is what the message that I think Joseph Matalan, in his life, has put to the fore.
Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall.
Unsecured loans.
Alleged corruption.
Follows the closure. If they made this investment.
Brokers
strive to increase revenues.
He sought some answers.
Financial meltdown.
Here are the week's final numbers. Here's Garth. News Roundup.
Camille, it's back to you.
That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale. Saturdays and Sundays.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just tuning in, we're here at the PSOJ Hall of Fame Gala. Now for more highlights.
And it's time to dedicate the blessing of the meal to a man that I greatly admire, Mr. Wayne, the Rev Marshall.
I honor your name. Whenever I fall, you lift me up. Glory to thee, oh God.
So we're going to have a bit of a break from tradition in the next part here, which is a video citation. But of course, before I say what it is, which I just said what it is, I should note that Joe gives me a fair latitude in making decisions. I remember I said he was a good delegator, so I can say hand on heart that my frequent errors are met with exactly the same equanimity as our successes. I will not be providing a ratio of one to the other, as too many of our shareholders are present. However, given Joe's stimulus to do things differently, we're going to present a mashup version of his citation through voices that are truly near and dear to his heart. And Joe, I hope this one will go down in the success column, the plus column. As a precursor to the citation, allow me to quote a wordsmith of some distinction, Winston Churchill, who said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And in a phrase that, to me, sums up Joe's operating system, and perhaps why he's our honoree tonight. So run the tune, selector.
Joe's early years say a lot about the man he was to become. At the tender age of 8, his parents, Myra and Sarita, deposited him at Belmont Mill Hill Preparatory School in the English countryside. Even at that early age, Joe was a determined nationalist, running away from school not once, but thrice. The last time, hiding out in a nearby World War II bomb shelter for 2 nights, until the headmaster capitulated and recommended his return to Jamaica. His love of country has not dimmed over the many years since. Back in Jamaica at Campion College, the teenage Joe displayed a remarkable facility with the administration and fellow students alike. His deep bond with Miss D, who ran the school cafeteria, allowed him express line privileges not accorded to many. He was an inventive prankster, credited by his peers with bringing a refinement to the chair-warming trick that has yet to be improved upon.
After a more conventional stay in England to do sixth form at the Dean Close School, he was accepted to the London School of Economics in 1977, where he successfully read for an honours degree program in economics, completed in the summer of 1980. During his time at the LSE, he cultivated a liking for theatre, Baroque music, and not surprisingly, nightlife. He also found time to refine his equestrian skills, catering to his desire for speed mixed in with a degree of danger. A fresh graduate, he was flown to Pittsburgh to interview with Alcoa, who placed him in its extrusion division located in Worcestershire, not exactly the epitome of metropolitan life he had taken a fancy to. Ever opportunistic, he would beetle down to London on weekends in his trusty Mini Minor to sample the high life and return to the countryside to pay his dues. In 1982, he relocated to Alcoa's headquarters in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania as a financial analyst in their international division, and despite an offer of promotion, Joe returned to Jamaica to join the family business in 1984. His starting position as an analyst allowed him to come to grips with the fundamentals of ICD's many businesses across manufacturing, construction, agro-processing, and distribution, a solid foundation for what was to come.
1984 was also significant in my dad's personal life as he met and married the wonderful Victoria Lindo and had my amazing brother Maya Joseph 2 years thereafter in 1986. My dad has always been heavily influenced by his dad and uncles, nearly all of whom contributed to nation building through various roles from ministers of government to highly influential positions on important statutory bodies. My dad's keen analytical mind and his nascent interest in public policy led him to serve as the PSOJ's representative on the Government of Jamaica's Tax Reform Committee in 1984, as well as the GCT Committee, which oversaw the introduction of a new value-added tax in 1991. Our family has learned a lot about taxes because of him. Seeing an opportunity to become further involved in the nation's affairs, he joined the PSOJ, serving as a vice president of the organization from 1986 to 1992 and chaired its Economic Policy Committee, a think tank that advocated for meaningful economic reforms and produced a number of important documents, including the PSOJ's first economic policy framework. It is a measure of my dad's intellectual capacity and penchant for excellence that many of the prescriptions in that framework document still have currency in today's Jamaica.
In 1986, despite ICD's already considerable corporate footprint, Joe was convinced that the group should participate in financial services, partnering with Scotiabank to form Industrial Finance Holdings to offer hire purchase and asset leasing. This was followed up a year later with the purchase of British Caribbean Insurance Company, rolling up IFH along with BCIC and the group's long-standing ownership of international insurance brokers into a holding company co-owned with Scotiabank. This shrewd strategic move has created significant value for ICD over the years, with its continued majority ownership of BCIC and now minority ownership in CGM Gallagher as a result of merging IIB with a dominant Eastern Caribbean broker and subsequent sale of majority ownership to a Big Four international broker, AJ Gallagher, in 2012.
There's an adage which paraphrase says, if you have not seen trouble, you have not been in business long enough. In the 1990s, after restructuring the group to consolidate debt through a large international debt issue, ICD's management bore the brunt of a sustained period of devaluation, combined with severe contractions in GDP, and their inevitable corollary of high interest rates, creating a perfect storm for the company. Under the pressure of default, Joe and his team negotiated a buyout of the bondholders by scraping up all of the equity he and his father could lay their hands on, coupled with a loan from Scotiabank. It was a traumatic time for Joe, but a great learning experience in the vicissitudes of business, and one that strengthened his resilience for future endeavors.
It was a challenging year for Joe, the businessman. However, it was also the period when he met the love of his life, Tracy Melhido. And after a 6-month courtship, far too protracted according to Joe, during which florists in the Greater Kingston area experienced a massive Philippine sales, they were married in November of 1992, with their daughter Ali being born in 1994. Joe is a committed family man. He and Tracy, his self-proclaimed soulmate and best friend, are renowned for hosting dinner parties at Hyperion Avenue, dubbed the Hyperion Helmsley for its fine banqueting, entertaining a wide and interesting variety of guests. The return of his son Maya to the family home from Florida in 1996, an event remarkably similar to Joe's childhood decision, caused Joe to remark, "My cup runneth over."
Joe's philanthropy, up to then more of a sporadic endeavor, found a new direction with his involvement in the founding of St. Patrick's Foundation in 1992, where he worked tirelessly alongside Monsignor Richard Albert to provide opportunities for the less fortunate. His commitment to corporate social responsibility led to his brainchild in 2010, raising $10 million to form the Youth Upliftment Through Employment Youth Program. Coincidental with the incursion into Tivoli Gardens, a time of great foment in Jamaica's history, Joe saw an urgent need for disenfranchised youth from inner city communities to gain an entry point into the working world. This would be accomplished through remedial education, vocational training and mentorship, culminating with apprenticeships in participating companies, often leading to permanent employment.
This intervention progressed from an idea into a highly successful program with over 3,000 youths being served annually, and is now a part of the ICD-led Multi-Care Youth Foundation.
Based on his work in this arena, the International Youth Foundation invited him to serve on their board in 2012 with its CEO Bill Rees noting, Joe then went on to join the International Youth Foundation's Global Board of Directors, where it has brought exceptional dynamism to our governance of global network to prepare young people for success in life in more than 70 countries.
On the business front, Chairman Joe oversaw a remake of ICD in the new millennium, supplementing the existing core of business centered around development, insurance and property management by adding investments in e-commerce, technology, business process outsourcing, and distribution. Today, ICD is a dynamic investment holding company with significant engagement across Latin America, the Caribbean, Africa, India, and Canada, earning over 50% of its revenue from offshore activities.
Despite his involvement in adapting ICD to be relevant in the fast-changing international business environment, Joe has continued to serve his country and has taken on many roles that have contributed to the development of public policy. He chaired the nation's Tax Policy Review Committee in 2003, a 2-year effort that recommended far-reaching reforms of the tax code and became known both locally and regionally as the Matalan Report. He also put in a significant shift as chairman of the Development Bank of Jamaica from 2007 to 2016, introducing a number of innovative financial instruments to spur the progression of small entrepreneurs. Never satisfied with just one thing, Joe teamed up with a few local investors in 2014 to found First Angels Jamaica, providing venture capital to startups and early-stage companies who previously had limited access to funding.
Apart from sitting on many boards, including the RJR Gleaner Communications Group, Joe has also played a significant role in developing local private education in his role as chairman of the Board of Governors of Hillel Academy over a period of 12 years, an institution very near and dear to my heart. Fittingly, he received the award of Commander of the Order of Distinction in 2010 for his contribution to the private and public sectors and for his community service. Joe, we salute the breadth and integrity of your contribution to the business community and the wider Jamaican society. We are grateful for your love of country and unstinting desire to make Jamaica a better place for all.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
With us for BATV's coverage of the 26th staging of the PSOJ Hall of Fame Gala, where Joseph M. Matalan, the chairman of the ICD Group Holdings Limited, is being inducted.
It's time to present Joe with his citation. So can I invite Howard and Makiba up to the platform to present Joe? And Joe, obviously, I think you need to be here as well, incidentally. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to hear from the man of the hour, the Mad Max of tax, the kingpin of LinkedIn, the Ayatollah of Nap Arola, the world boss of Microsoft, the Veep of the long sleep, the winner of this dinner, the virtuoso, never so-so, Joe be the only one Kenobi. Come forward.
First, the team from the PSOJ,
ICD, and the Pegasus, who have been responsible for planning and executing this event. I thank you all for your support over the years. Of course, I want to acknowledge the presence of my dear sisters, Jacqueline and Gail, and their husbands, Ramon and Sally, my dear sister, Rebecca, and her two eldest children, Gabby and Raymond, as well as my brother-cousin, Anthony Shalom, and his wife, Esther, all of whom have traveled from Mexico and Panama to be with us for the occasion. To the many friends and all of my extended family members, and it's a big family, guys. That's why we managed to sell out the room tonight. Thank you all for sharing this evening with me tonight. To my in-laws, Oki and Angela, Peter and Nicola, well, not Peter, Nicola, Diane and Sian, thank you for welcoming me so warmly into the Melhedo and Denner families. I'm compelled to make special mention of Angie, who is not only, ladies and gentlemen, the very definition of the ideal mother-in-law, but also, as a further dividend, has always been very quick to come to my aid in any occasional domestic dispute that might arise. Thank you, my darling Angie. To my own parents, Maya and Sarita, who, though not physically present with us tonight, are very much present for me in spirit. Thank you for your love and your example, and through the many opportunities you provided to me for the springboard which you created for my professional career and my entire life's journey. Last and most important, my beautiful wife, Tracy. Beautiful both inside and out, ladies and gentlemen, who, as you have heard, is unquestionably my soulmate and an individual with whom I have been privileged to walk this earth for the last 26 years. Together, we have been blessed to raise two wonderful children, our son Maya and our daughter Ali, both of whom have traveled from Panama and New York to be with us tonight. And with whom, to quote the scriptures, we are well pleased. Tracy and I also have shared a joint professional project and some would say passion for the last 18 years or so in Hillel Academy. Tracy inspired and recruited me to join that cause, and I want to publicly acknowledge that any success that we have had together with the Hillel team in improving the standards and performance of that institution are entirely due to her passion, commitment, and hard work. I have merely been an instrument. Thank you, TRAC, for putting up with me for the past 26 years, for always being in my corner and being, for me, a constant place of refuge, safety, and love.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV. Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Ladies and gentlemen, worse luck for you. It is apparently customary for the Hall of Fame inductee to make some remarks about some important subject matter, economic or social. I considered talking about tax policy, the entrepreneurial ecosystem, or even that most gripping of topics, utility regulation. But before you all let out a collective groan of despair, you will be relieved to know that I thought better of it. Instead, thank you. Instead, I want to offer just a few words on the role of the private sector in civil society. To my mind, ladies and gentlemen, the world at present is in many respects a very scary place. The ravages of the Great Recession served to exacerbate a multi-decade trend of increasing inequality across the world, both in terms of income and wealth, and has thereby given rise to a lot of disillusionment and anger among electorates around the world, many of whom have reacted by putting populist leaders in power. Leaders whose playbook typically involves leveraging that anger and disillusionment by scapegoating minorities and immigrants, sowing the seeds of division in society, and trending more and more toward a belligerent form of authoritarianism. It's easy to believe that many of these trends do not and will not affect our own society here in Jamaica. We would be wrong in doing so. These developments will almost certainly have important implications for Jamaica's place in and approach to a very much shifting geopolitical landscape. But we must also, I believe, look inward. For the fact is, Jamaica's own income inequality, while by no means the worst in the world, has worryingly been on the rise in recent times. And this concern should not occupy our governments and policymakers alone. The PSOJ, which I think of as an important civil society organization, and private sector actors more broadly, have a critical role to play in influencing government policy in response to these trends and in steering our economy in the direction of inclusive growth, greater equality of opportunity through the education system, and putting in place a social safety net that can genuinely protect the most vulnerable in our society. Indeed, as an influential member of civil society, I believe the PSOJ ought to provide leadership and assume the role of convener that facilitates debate and consensus around the most effective strategies towards combating the worst ills of that inequality. We fail to do so, ladies and gentlemen, at our peril. We have only to look around us at the increasing lack of social cohesion in societies around the globe, which have given rise to more and more pockets of social and economic instability. I was therefore very encouraged by the President's, one of the few things I was encouraged by the President. In fact, it seems to me that his entire approach to his contribution to tonight's proceedings was designed to lose him the election in December. Do you agree? But having said that, I am encouraged by his pronouncements tonight about the need to participate as active members of civil society towards what he has described as a new capitalism. If I interpret him correctly, this new capitalism, amongst other things, recognizes our responsibility in the private sector to be cognizant of the issues that I have just described and to collaborate with civil society and our governments of whichever stripe to be a part of the solution rather than the problem. To rise, ladies and gentlemen, above our own narrow interests and to have a real perspective of the interests of all of the society. Let me be clear. I am not suggesting, Mr. President, that PSOJ abandon its free market principles in favor of some new brand of utopian socialism. That in and of itself, I think, would be a tragic mistake. Rather, we need to redouble our efforts to improve access to quality education for all and not just for some Jamaicans. We must insist on the establishment of an adequate system of social security benefits and social interventions in aid of our most vulnerable brothers and sisters and their communities. And we must all, individually and collectively, lend our efforts and resources in providing our people with the skills and attitudes to attain the dignity of decent employment and productive enterprise. I hope, in respect of this last, that you will forgive me for an opportunistic plug on behalf of the youth program, which was a creation, in fact, of the PSOJ, born, as we've been told, in the aftermath of the Tivoli incursion in 2010. That program has been adopted by the ICD group and is a part now of the Multicare Youth Foundation, which foundation itself has sought for over 30 years to enrich the curricula via sport and the visual and performing arts of resource-poor inner-city schools in the Kingston metropolitan area and St. Catherine. The youth programs, on the other hand, focus on an older cohort of at-risk youth who have been failed by our education system, providing remedial education, life and vocational skills training, mentorship, and job placement services. Ladies and gentlemen, the plight of at-risk youth in our inner-city communities is as urgent today as it was in 2010. And I want to appeal to the members of the PSOJ to engage with the Multicare Youth Foundation and other youth-serving private and public agencies and learn how you might get involved, not only with your resources, but also with your time. I can assure you that the rewards in terms of personal satisfaction are great. The rewards, I would suggest, will be even greater in terms of social cohesion and the assurance of Jamaica's uninterrupted development towards its goal of being the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Like Howard, I don't really want to detain you any further. And I note with some amount of chagrin that we are way past the hard stop, Mr. Melhedo. But nevertheless, while I have been kept largely in the dark, and you could see why, about the details of tonight's proceedings, I do suspect that the planners have some more surprises in store. And I want you all to stay and enjoy yourselves. Stay as late as you like. And once again, thank you all for sharing this occasion with me. Thank you.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 fraud spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Joseph Matalon, the 26th business leader to be inducted in the PSOJ's Hall of Fame. What does this honor mean to you, sir?
It's always wonderful to get recognition. I never expected that I would have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, at least not now. But it's a great privilege, and having my family and everyone around me here, it's been a wonderful experience.
What's your first order of business as the inductee?
To go and spend some time with my family. That's my first order of business.
You spoke about the youth program earlier and how you've been very passionate about it. What inspires that passion?
Well, I think in Jamaica, we don't necessarily value our human capital to the extent that I think we ought. And when you see kids coming out of school that can't read and write, and that don't have the social skills to hold down a job, that's a waste of our human capital. Not only are you condemning these young people to a life of mediocrity, but you are also causing the country to lose the productive input that could have come from those individuals. Lots of people have given me lots of opportunities along the way. And I think it's important for all our young people that they feel that they have an opportunity, that if they can work hard and be diligent and disciplined, that they will succeed.
So I have with me the chairman of the Sagicor board, Mr. Richard Biles. Richard, how are you doing tonight?
Very good. Pleased to be here.
All right, you were the 25th inductee in the PSOJ Hall of Fame Gala. What has the year been like for you?
It's been a year of retirement, so I've enjoyed it completely. But I was really very humbled and honored to have been given the award last year. And I'm sure that this year Joe is extremely proud, as we are of him.
Any words you'd like to say, any words of encouragement to Mr. Matalan?
No, I don't think Joe needs any encouragement. He has had an outstanding career, especially in giving public service to this country, quite apart from his business successes. So I think Joe knows what is expected of him, and he'll deliver.
In terms of 2018 for Sagicor, what were some of the major accomplishments, and what can we look forward to in 2019?
Well, Sagicor has had a year of not as good as we'd like it to be, but that's no fault of the economy. The economy is doing pretty well. I've said so publicly. And I think that there are very good opportunities in business for Sagicor and for others. We look forward to doing a number of deals in the near future, and you'll hear about them.
All right, thank you so much, Richard. We hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
My pleasure.
I have with me Mr. Don Webby. He's the Group CEO of Grace Kennedy Limited. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing very well. This is a very happy occasion, and I'm so excited that I'm honoring my good friend Joe M. Matalan.
Tell us one nice memory about Mr. Matalan.
Okay, no, I was a vice president of the PSOJ when he was the president, and his heart and soul is in Jamaica. So I remember working with him on a lot of the issues of tax reform, and I consider him one of the best I've worked with in terms of reform of the tax system. So those are my memories of Joe as the man that understands taxation in Jamaica, and he has done a number of papers on it. And they have started to implement most of them, so I'm happy about that.
All right, Grace has been doing a lot of expansion, and we have so many things to look forward to in 2019. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, our expansion in 2019 is going to be along the agricultural division, where we're going to be putting in about 300 acres of pepper mash. We're also starting a new factory in Clarendon, Denby, where, in fact, we're going to be doing frozen yam, frozen sweet potato, canning ackee and canning callaloo. The business objective of that is actually to export to the Jamaican diaspora in the UK, Canada, and the USA. So we are very excited about that.
So they don't have to miss home food too much?
They don't have to miss home food too much. That's what Grace is about.
And when can we expect the unveiling of your new building downtown?
We're going to complete the building December of this year, end of this year, and we're hoping to move in the first quarter of 2019. So sometime during the first quarter of 2019, we're going to have the unveiling. Grace Kennedy on February 14, 2019 will be 97 years old. So hopefully we'll be well prepared to move in on that date for our birthday. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Webby. That brings us to the end of our coverage of the 26th staging of the PSOJ Hall of Fame Gala, where Joseph Matalan was inducted. Business Access TV celebrates this momentous moment and achievement for him. I'm Amashika Lauren. Stay tuned to Business Access TV, serious about business.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Hi, I'm Richard Panduit, CEO for the Separate Group of Companies, and You're watching Business Access TV. We're serious about business.
Wealth Magazine Business Access is brought to you by FX Trader.
FX Trader, your foreign exchange place from Grace Kennedy Money Services.
The ability to transform one's circumstances into profitable business opportunities is one of the most invaluable skills among successful entrepreneurs. On this episode of Business Access, Charles Mattox shares with us about his extensive experiences in an array of professions and how his diagnosis as a diabetic has transformed into a viable business enterprise.
I was conceived in Jamaica. Does that make any sense? And actually born in the other Jamaica, which is Brooklyn, right? Born in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn for a couple of years, probably, I would say, until I was about 7 years old. Had a great life out there. My mom and dad obviously were together. Then we moved to Long Island. And so I was raised in Long Island, a pretty much fairly white neighborhood. So literally I was almost like the only black kid around there. And so I was able to get a really diverse upbringing and background, just being around different people. I'm thankful that my mother left Jamaica to come here. She started off as, I want to say maybe like a maid or something like that in somebody's house. And then she progressed to being, having a very high position at Merrill Lynch. My mother and father separated when I was about 7 years old. So it was just pretty much me by myself. So I would spend, my mother would go to work and I would come home and just pretty much just have the time to myself until she got home from work. I think that time allowed me to kind of nurture and grow myself. My uncle was Bob Marley. It was Bob Marley. And I met him twice before he passed, and both times were pivotal times in my life, you know. The first time I met him, it was, of course, at a hotel. And I remember going into his room, and the room was just full of ganja smoke. And sat on the bed and we started to talk. Immediately came right over to me. And you know, I was young, but he then came over to me and we spent some time and he took me out of the room. He didn't want me, you could tell that he didn't want, so we went in the hallway and was just playing some football. And then the second time, actually, I met him was once again at a hotel. And I remember I was more focused on games. There were some games, some board games and some card games and stuff like that. And then he was sitting in the living room. And this is the time he was going through, obviously, the chemotherapy and things like that and procedures. And I remember sitting down next to him. It was a dark room, just like this. And he had a bag, a paper bag on the table. And his locks were in there. And I asked him, I said, well, why is your hair in here? And he said that he was sick. I knew I had this bloodline in me, and I felt like if I can do something with that bloodline. And that, so really early on, I wanted to make music. Actually, I saw a video. Remember, I was real young. And it was a video of LL Cool J. And I thought, man, how could a brother live like that, you know? So, I didn't live too far from him. I lived in Long Island, he lived in Queens. So I decided at this point I had bought this little car, my first car. Worked hard for that too as well, worked in a deli. And I just went to where I heard that he lived, the part of the neighborhood that he lived, and just started driving around asking people where LL Cool J lived. And I eventually, literally it was overnight. Somebody showed me where he lived. So I went and just knocked on the door. And I remember his grandmother came out. Me, who you want, you know? So I said, yeah, I'm looking for LL. He's not here. So I said, all right, well, and now I know where he lives. I'm gonna come back every day. So one day I came back and I saw this limo outside. So I said, all right, here's my chance. So walked up to him and I said, you know, LL, I'm Charles, whatever it was I said. And he was like, yo, how you doing? You know, I'm like, all right. So I said, well, you know, I'm trying to be a rapper. And he said, well, let me hear something. So here I go. I didn't even have anything memorized. I went back to the car to get my piece of paper to have my raps on it. And here I'm shaking like this. And he said, you know, so he said, yo, man, I'm going out of town right now. He said, when you get back, hit me up. I thought, wow. So of course, you know, I waited a couple of days and I'm back at his house every day, And then came back again and he was there. And grandmother came and he came to the door and he said, come in. We went downstairs and just hung out downstairs with him for a few, and I'm like, oh my God, my life changed. Then I kept doing it again, and I can't find him another time. And he said, man, one day you're gonna be a star. He said, it's serious. So that just kind of led to us being friends and working together and kind of living with him for a while. We worked on a song called She's Rockin' that was about Janet Jackson, and it was an amazing experience, you know, because I learned a lot from him. At that time in New York, it was lovely. That's when Puffy was getting his start. That's when everybody in the music industry was pretty much getting their start. So you were running with these cats. And you know, I had a lot of offers and things like that, but I remember how I got my full offer was from Russell Simmons, who owns Def Jam. I started to do music and did very well. And at that point, I had my son. And I remember seeing Sesame Street. So I had a really fantastic manager. So I said, Angela, I said, listen, I want to be on Sesame Street. And she said she had a friend who was an actor, which was Michael T. Williamson, who played Bubba in Forrest Gump. So she introduced me to him. He set me up with an agent. And then, you know, when you get an agent, they don't just focus on Sesame Street. They start sending you out on everything. So they started sending me out on these auditions. I had no idea what an audition was. And I just started booking right away as a kid. I'm just booking all of these big movies and I'm like, wow, you know, I mean, so me and him actually became very good friends. And so that kind of really got how I got into film. I think the first film I did, I played a rapper. And then from there, I remember one incident that happened. It was this lady who is like one of the biggest casting directors in Hollywood, Deborah Aquila. She cast everything from Shawshank Redemption to Spider-Man, you name it. And she loved me for whatever reason. I remember going in there for an audition, and you could tell the lady wanted me to get this role. And I was stinking so bad it wasn't even funny. And she said, Charles, she said, don't worry about it. We're gonna work together. So at that point, I went home and I thought, man, you know, here I have all these amazing opportunities, and I said, I'm not gonna let this happen again. So another audition came up. It was called The Summer of Ben Tyler, with James Woods and Elizabeth McGovern. So I remember I went home and I studied. Came back, it was just me and her in a room just like this. And I literally brought the lady to tears. And that was, you know, my first leading role where I actually played Ben Tyler in the movie. So from that point on, I kind of said, I'm gonna take this very serious, and you know, went on to star in some other great movies. I found out I had type 2 diabetes and couldn't grasp it. I thought I was gonna die.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 fraud spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
One day we were walking into a restaurant and my son said, wouldn't it be cool to see real people make meals on TV? And at that time it was like Iron Chef and things like that, and I thought, wow, that is a good idea. So I thought, I came up with this whole concept which was called the Poor Chef. And I thought, you know, we're all, you know, if you're a chef or even a doctor, but you're the broke doctor, you're still an expert at what you do. So I think we're all poor chefs in a way. So I was really appealing to the food lover in all of us. So I came up with the Poor Chef, and I went to a local ABC television station in Orlando, and they loved the concept. And I thought, wow. So literally it just took off from there, and that led to, you know, appearances on everything from CNN, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, sauces, books, and so from that little idea, it led to all of this other stuff. I found out I had type 2 diabetes. It was just, you know, at that point I was going to the gym, I'm lifting all of these weights and everything like that, and thought I was healthy. And then one day, it was over a weekend, and I was just using the bathroom a little too much. And I thought I was just gonna go to a local doctor. It was a Saturday. I thought I was gonna go to a local doctor, tell him some story, get some antibiotics, and just go home. And then he came back out and he said, do you have a history of diabetes? And I thought, diabetes? I didn't even know what diabetes was. And he wanted to give me medication. And I thought, this can't be right. I mean, how did I go from this to this so fast? So I walked out, I said, no, I don't want any medication. You know, I'm gonna figure this out on myself, on my own. Because I couldn't grasp it. I thought I was gonna die. You know, I literally thought, you know, a disease, I've got a disease. You know, so that kind of led me to the next phase of my life, where I was doing the whole celebrity chef thing, and it was fantastic. But I realized I didn't get started in the business to do that. So this was a welcome opportunity for me, because I realized that there wasn't anyone like me in diabetes if I wanted to become an advocate and make it into a business opportunity, right? So then I just started to, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna engulf myself in diabetes. And that's when I started to do my documentary, The Diabetic You, and then just really take off from there in diabetes, you know, to where we're at right now, where I'm probably one of the biggest faces in the world in diabetes. I just released a new cookbook with the American Diabetes Association. I'm a Blue Circle champion with the International Diabetes Federation, which is a big honor. I speak all around the world for diabetes. Just got back from Australia speaking out there. We're shooting my documentary in India right now for diabetes. It's been an amazing ride, you know. In Jamaica, we just fed almost 1,000 children at Stella Morris for World Diabetes Day. So it's actually allowed me to find my true purpose, I feel, in life, which is giving back in this way. Me being able to take something as bad as per se as diabetes, I saw a ray of light in that. I realized once again that there was no young black face in diabetes. So I saw a way to be able to engage the diabetic and the health community in taking my message of health and nutrition through the food that I was making to others around the world who are in need of better nutrition, of inspiration. So I think that even in the worst of circumstances, that if you keep a positive attitude, you can turn even the worst of circumstances into something that could be beneficial, whether it's a business opportunity or just a life opportunity. While I might have been cooking healthy at times, I wasn't living healthy at times, because when you're your own boss, you work very hard. So I was up, you know, I was going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, up at 7, eating very bad late at night. You know, I thought ginger ale at times was better than Coca-Cola, so I would drink ginger ale because I think it had ginger in it, right? And eating a lot of processed foods, because late at night you're eating, you know, sandwiches, you're eating maybe some potato chip, things you shouldn't be eating. Anytime you're up at late at night, you're doing something you should be doing most of the time, right? So I realized that I had to look inside myself. So I looked in the mirror and I thought, man, number one, I gotta lose some weight. Number two, I gotta change the way I'm eating. So literally I had gone vegetarian for probably about 6 months and lost probably about 20 pounds. So I knew I needed to change who I was as a person, physically and mentally and spiritually. It definitely changed the way I cook on the show. So obviously I went from certain meats, certain ingredients to just a more healthy perspective. So I'm going on my second cookbook right now. Both are based on healthy cooking. So obviously my whole life changed as far as the way I cook and what I present to other people. My goal was, through my documentary, I had a whole plan. See, I wanted to be, if you look at like Michael Moore, who's a very famous director, people don't per se buy into Michael Moore because he makes fantastic films. They buy into Michael Moore because of Michael Moore. So they know that he's controversy. So he's more of a personality. So I realized that I needed to be more of a personality, and I needed to be the face of diabetes if I was gonna make this movie a success. Because I looked at the success he had. Michael Moore, the film on Fahrenheit 9/11 grossed over $250 million US. It's a lot of money. So I looked at that and I thought, you know what, if I become the face of diabetes and this film is a success, I could be very successful with this documentary. So that was my goal, was to build my brand in diabetes so that people would then say, okay, he's legitimate, you know, we love what he's doing, and this is why we need to see this documentary. So it was a twofold chord. Was it about giving back? Of course, but it was also seeing an opportunity as far as business. Even sometimes I look at, let's say, Martin Luther King, or I look at Gandhi, and at times I feel like I'm the Martin Luther King or the Gandhi of diabetes, or what I do. But at the same time, you don't want to be homeless doing what you do, because the healthcare companies, the pharmaceutical companies, these guys are making billions of US dollars, right? So you have to look at this also as something that can be sustainable for yourself, because the more you are able to bring in, the more you can help other people, right? So if you're poor, you can't bring in, you can't help too many people because you can't even help yourself. So realizing that if we looked at this as a business and then treated this as such, that we can be very successful and our engagements could even be more. We can help people here, we can help people there, we can really give back. I brought a great team together who their lives have changed because of the work that we're doing. So now they're able to get a good income. We're able to now give back to people and change their lives. So it's creating a win-win opportunity through helping, through giving back. The transition from diabetes, where we had the Charles bar and things like that, came from wanting to build this brand, build this empire.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo, Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
This is Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall, unsecured loans, alleged corruption, follows the closure. If they made this investment, brokers strive to increase revenues. These sought some answers. Financial meltdown. Here are the week's final. Here's Garth. News Roundup. Camille, it's back to you. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, Saturdays and Sundays.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
When I was doing the Poor Chef, cookbooks came, a spice line came, sauces came, things like that. But the transition from diabetes, where we had the Charles bar and things like that, came from wanting to build this brand, build this empire based on diabetes. And for about a year, I just was having fun doing it. I didn't understand the business of it until one day I said, man, I better turn this into a business, because it is just that. As I turn this more into a business, I've always obviously been into production, always been into just being creative. So as you're creative, you want to then, create other projects, create other forms of revenue, diversifying yourself so that your brand, because I don't want to be some old chef. I don't want to be, I want to be someone who, because there's a couple of old chefs who didn't get anything out of the business, right? They leave the game and they didn't win the game, So I wanted to win this game, not just be a chef. Right now we're doing Conversation in the Kitchen, which is airing locally in Jamaica. It'll air in other Caribbean islands, then also in New York, Canada, things like that. I call it bait for the shark. Obviously, I've got a major documentary that's going to be seen on CNN that we've been shooting for the past 3 years around the world, called Diabetic You, which is my baby. It's telling the story of my life with diabetes and other lives around the world with diabetes. We've also got the first ever diabetes reality show, which is like The Biggest Loser but of diabetes, which is a tremendous project, which has the potential to be an international hit. And then we've got a couple of other really good projects. Life is good, we're very profitable. We're growing. Obviously, there's always room for growth, but we're all happy. Life is good. The checks are coming. My thing is not just to, work a job. My thing is not just to come home and just pay the bills. I want to excel. I want to exceed. I want to run with the bulls. I want to fly with the eagles. I'm not scared to ask for something. I'm not scared to get rejected. I'm not scared to, even like right now with diabetes, because funding at times is not always easy for what I'm trying to do. But then I go back to thinking of someone who is sitting in a hospital bed right now, who has some terrible complications from diabetes. And I think, does this person care whether Charles is knocking on a door or begging somebody to help support something with diabetes? They don't care. They just want the help. So that's how I think. I think that, you know what, this is for them. Diabetes affects the workforce because obviously if you're sick, you can't come to work, right? When we think of not only the lack of work that will come, if you're sick and you're not telling your boss you're sick, if you're lethargic, if your mind is not focused, if you're calling in days, it's going to affect your company. So once again, being able to address the company and being able to address attacking diabetes before it affects the productiveness of the company is very important. Most people believe that the pill or a pill will just help you out, but they don't change, they don't lose weight, they don't exercise, they don't have a goal, they don't have a plan. So it's a really complicated circle, you know, that we've got to change. The effects of what I've been doing, I gauge that on a few things. I gauge it on the replies and the feedback that I get from the people based on the lives that we've changed. I base it on the success that comes with that. Like, I get emails and calls to speak in places that I'm like, you know what am I doing speaking in front of, you know, in front of these group of scientists and doctors, and you know, I charge them a ridiculous amount of money. You know, I just got one I'm speaking to in Boston, and you know, to be asked to do that stuff means you're going in the right direction. For people of that stature, in those positions, to call you and want you to engage doctors and scientists and people in the pharmaceutical and healthcare world means that you're doing something right. So I base it on a few different things, and also the success we're having amongst, you know, my team and my company. So, but really with the people. I go back to what my uncle said, you know, if my life is for me alone, I don't want it. So wealth for me wealth is not based on finance at all. You know, I'm a spiritual person. I don't want to keep beating that in, but at the same time, I don't mind beating that in. I don't mind beating that drum. But wealth for me is not based on anything that has to do with finance, unfortunately. I know this is Wealth Magazine, but you may want to hear that, but it's not based on finance. It's based on what you acquire through your life journeys. In diabetes, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to spread a message, and I'm here to kick it up. I'm here to stir it up, because if you don't do that, you get forgotten. So I'm the rebel of this.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
We're here in the little seacoast town of Onoto Bay in the parish of St. Mary for the Ministry of Tourism's official opening of Markingstone Beach. Business Access TV brings you highlights from Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett and other stakeholders. Stay with us.
We have recognized, and the Minister has instructed us to ensure that we are rehabilitating and developing beaches across Jamaica to ensure that there are enough public beaches for our people to, I know sometimes they call us dryland tourists, but for us to enjoy the benefits of this beautiful country. Today is a continuation of openings of various tourism developments across St. Mary, and the minister and his entourage have been just coming from Rio Nuevo village, which is quite impressive, and I overheard the minister saying how impressed he was with it. And so it's a message to St. Mary to say, listen, tourism recognizes you and we are here facilitating the development. Now, tourism is one of those industries where it requires partnerships. And so no matter how much we do from the ministry, it requires partnerships with stakeholders, partnerships with municipalities, partnerships with the people to ensure that the standards are maintained and are as high as possible. And we build on the legacy that we have here in Jamaica as one of the best destinations in the world.
Well, this transformation here at Markingstone is one of many that we're doing across the island. You see, tourism is changing quite a bit with the advent of technology that opens up an opportunity for the average Jamaican to actually benefit from tourism. It's not only a case where they need to work inside a hotel or to supply a hotel, they can also benefit from renting out their space. Because Jamaica, thankfully, we've been blessed where anywhere you go in Jamaica, you can find a beach or a river or a waterfall or a mountain. You can have some great experience, and with the natural weather and our natural hospitable culture and so on, we end up pretty much having an industry, a resource that's available to every Jamaican to become a tourism entrepreneur. So how that is enhanced is if all the beaches that are dotted across the island are then developed, so that restroom facilities are in place, so one, the environment is protected, but we demonstrate respect and provide that convenience to anybody who uses the beach, and so on. So, you know, seating areas, parking spaces, security, lifeguards, and so on. And that's what we've done here, and we are doing across Jamaica to open up Jamaica more. It's not only on the north coast, or it's all over Jamaica. We want to make it a case where tourists and the diaspora and Jamaicans are enjoying what we've been blessed with naturally. So that is the purpose of investing in beaches like the Markingstone Beach and getting the result that we have today.
I have visited this facility. I passed by here just the other day before the work was complete, but on entering the gate I was wondering, am I really at Markingstone Beach? And that is a testimony to the work that has been done here. I noticed I saw some persons out there enjoying the facility already, so it is a good sign. We are eternally grateful to the Tourism Enhancement Fund for spending, I won't mention the figure, maybe the minister will do that later, but significant funds on this facility. And as I said, it looks like a first-class beach. Those of us who know Markingstone before would understand why I am so excited based on what I have seen. The St. Mary Municipal Corporation has owned this facility for a long time. Although, Minister, this is one of the properties that is everybody knows belongs to the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. However, it is in the name of Commissioner of Lands. We have interviewed interested parties in terms of leasing this facility because we don't have the capability to run such a facility. So we have interviewed persons, we have sent to the Ministry of Local Government for them to approve so that we can have somebody run the facility and run it properly as to how it should be.
What does growth in tourism mean for Onoto Bay?
Well, it means a lot in that we will be bringing more tourists here, then we'll provide more jobs and more opportunities for our locals. So it is indeed important to us. This facility that has been renovated, we hope, based on the individual who will run it, we hope it will be run in a way that we will actually get tourists here as well as locals. But apart from this facility alone, we are looking at other heritage tourism developments throughout the parish, and we took the minister on a tour of an area in Portmore, a very historic area, where we are trying to do a tour of that area. So we have formed a committee and we are looking into getting some funding from the Tourism Enhancement Fund to make that tour a reality.
The corporation has authority to manage the beach. How will the upkeep be guided?
The upkeep will be guided by statuses under the Local Governance Act and also our act in relation to our Building Act, the Town and Country Planning Act. We use all of those because as a local building authority, local planning authority, we also work along with other state agencies to manage our beaches, to manage our public spaces. So not only us will be responsible for the management of the beach, but we will also be using guidelines from other state agencies. We'll ensure that the park has the requisite number of lifeguards, has the requisite safety facilities in place, for example, your backboards, your first aid kits, as I said, your lifeguards. As you can see, the lifeguard stands are already here. So we are ensuring that the safety of the members, not only of the workers, but of the general public, are taken into consideration, the security of the site in itself. We're going to ensure that the beach and itself will be developed into a recreational space, a park, so that the locals for not only Onoto Bay but the greater St. Mary will also be served and our visitors to this country.
What other important purpose does this transformation serve for the people of Onoto Bay?
It serves a very important purpose because it is an active open space. It's somewhere that you'll need for relaxation and rejuvenation because you work in a very stressful environment no matter where it is, and you are going to need a space where you can relax, you can congregate with your family, with your friends. So this is a facility that is needed for any community to fully develop an active open space area. This, I believe, is one of the premier sites in this area. It is not only going to be used as a beach park in itself, it's one of the areas that is going to be used, for example, like for your parties, because it is a little outside of the town, so you won't have that congestion in the town itself. So it will be used for that sort of facilities. It is well-needed facility, and we will endeavor to not only maintain as it is right now, but we'll also be developing for other facilities within this area.
We're gonna go for a break, but when we return, more from the Marking Stone Beach in Onoto Bay, St. Mary.
This is Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall,
unsecured loans,
alleged corruption, follows the closure.
If they made this investment,
Brokers
strive to increase revenues.
He sought some answers. Financial meltdown. Here are the week's final. Here's Guard. News Roundup.
Camille, it's back to you.
That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, Saturdays and Sundays.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV, prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
We have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I would get it big.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
And we're back. Thanks for staying with us for the coverage of the opening of the Marking Stone Beach held in Annotto Bay, St. Mary. Here's more.
You know, it also gives me great pride and a pleasure to be here today. And why this is so, I was whispering in the ears of the minister that this beach here has a special place in my heart as well. I can't tell you why. I mean, I've told him why, and I told Bob also. I can't tell nobody else. But when I was a little boy, I used to come to this beach regularly, and then when I became a young man, I used to come to this beach, but not just in the days, but in the nights as well. So you can understand what I'm talking about, right? Oh, yeah. But what is so pleasing is for the facility to be brought up to this level. And when I toured along with the minister, especially in the bathrooms, this is not just a hurry come up bathroom. This is a bathroom that can rival any facility in the world. I mean, the bathroom is well put together. And Bob, this is something that I hope, I may have mentioned it before, and I guess all the speakers will mention it, that building these properties is one thing, but to maintain them is the other thing. We want to know that when you come to facilities, you feel good that you're in the right place, not just somewhere that you just have to use. And this is a country, we're building a country based on excellence. Marking Stone Beach is also a manifestation of the quality development, and I know that Bob, with his expertise, when we come back here, Minister, this lawns will be pristine with green grass and flowering plants all around. And I was mentioning to the councillor earlier about the almond trees. You know, when these grow and become good shades across these seats, it will be a sight to behold. And that's what we want. We want facilities that we not only build, but we are proud to call our own, because we're building this new Jamaica. And before I come down, I want to again say special thanks to the minister. This is one minister, when you ask him about projects that means Jamaica well, he never says no. And I remember just coming into politics, and I asked him about several developments across Southeast St. Mary. And I'm proud to say that he has responded so well, and the people of Southeast is very thankful to you, sir. And look for your continued showering us with your blessings. We welcome this particular development, as with most developments that are taking place across Jamaica. But this development is special for me in a number of ways. As the Member of Parliament for this area, I mean, the development is welcome, but more importantly, I was born here, and this was one of my beaches that I used to visit when I was a little boy. And you know, I grew to love and appreciate this particular area. As you can see, it's very idyllic. It's away from the hustle and bustle, and it is very suitable for a day of full relaxation and fun. So we welcome it.
What does this transformation mean to you?
No, it means a lot, because what is happening and what has happened to a number of small communities across Jamaica, sometimes the development doesn't pass through or is not evident in those areas. So having something like this now shows that development can come to the local areas, and therefore it's important for us to appreciate this sort of development. And not only that, it might be a catalyst for other developments that will take place in a particular area. As you can see, it sits on the corridor, a major thoroughfare through this constituency.
How will you ensure sustainable management of this here beach?
Well, one of the things which we are very big on is not just the development of these facilities, but the maintenance of these facilities. And what has happened so far, which is quite remarkable, we have had a number of persons, I get to understand, that were interested in this facility, and they have selected one such individual now who is from the area as well. So this is somebody from the area who not only has a business interest, but has a personal connection to it. So the facility is for us in Anoto Bay. I'd like to say thank you very much to the Minister, to TEF, and all the persons who have participated in this, to the Municipal Corporation, the Mayor, and the Councillor of this particular division, which is the Anoto Bay division, for their work in getting the facility to what it is. And we are happy for it, and I'm sure going forward, the persons who will use the facility will also find that it is a welcome addition to what we have. There are a number of other things which are going to come about in Southeast St. Mary that I'd like to say will happen in a very short time. We are getting a number of things done finally in Southeast St. Mary, because we believe that we can take our pride and rightful place in this development and this Jamaica that we are creating.
I'm therefore pleased to be here today to hand over an upgraded Marking Stone beach to complement your offerings. The beach was upgraded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund at a cost of $38.3 million as part of its National Beach Development Program. And I want to make the point that sometimes comments are made in advance of action known to begin. And the actions, when they follow, gives an impression as though they are being driven by another direction. But these series of beaches that we are going to be opening and handing over between now and the end of the year makes the story and tells the tale very well, that this represents work done, activities in train, and now work completed and ready to be handed over. So we have done the upgrading here, not on the basis of providing a beach facility, but on the basis of providing a complete entertainment facility and an attraction in its own right. And when you look at what is done here, and you see that we have constructed a guardhouse, 3 gazebos, well-appointed restrooms, and I want you to take note of that. When you finish, go and look in those restrooms. And that's what we're talking about, because it makes no sense to have a wonderful beach and a beautiful facility, nice eating areas, and then afterwards
you go to another place. We want you to go to a place equally appointed and well prepared and fit for purpose. We have parking facilities as well as landscaping work, among other significant improvements that you will see. We recognize that beaches are a great resource of tourism. In fact, our scenic beaches attract a large number of domestic and inbound tourists. This is why we have ensured that the TEF has committed to transform one beach in every parish to a quality recreational space. And remember the point I'm making, not to have a nice beach, but a quality recreational space. And it must operate at the highest and best international standards for a country such as ours. And it must be available to residents and visitors alike. So to date, we have spent $104 million for 3 beaches in the overall beach program. And the next one we will open properly is going to be licensed, where we spend $49 million to upgrade. And then we're going to do Boston Beach, and we're going to do Winifred Beach, and we are going to do other beaches in the West, because the West has to be touched too, and we are going to be doing beaches along the South Coast as well. Those of us who have leadership in the political arena have a duty to guide and to lead and to enlighten and to ensure that that higher level of presentation is always kept in sight, and not to be part of any process that will help to lead people to be left out of the mainstream of development because our facilities are substandard. And as minister, I'm committed to that process. And this ministry will continue through the efforts of the TEF to upgrade and continue to enhance the quality of the Jamaican product, and to ensure that our ordinary Jamaican entrepreneurs, our little man, as we call it, have a nice, decent place to peddle their wares, where they can wash their hands and have proper conveniences, and they can feel and move around with air and space. And the visitors who come can also leave with a good impression and say when they leave Jamaica, what a wonderful little country that I have been. It was a joy to go to the markets in Jamaica. But we know that change is never a linear process, and that change sometimes requires a little bit of hand-holding. And we know that change sometimes causes a little bit of disruption. And sometimes we don't understand it, and when we don't understand it, we become suspicious of it. So we are going to work with our partners, and we're going to make sure that we hold hands and do it right, and do it together, and do the transformation from poverty to prosperity.
We pride ourselves in being a destination of sand, sea, and sun. And so we bring the world here for a beach experience as well. So it's a big part of the product in Jamaica. But we are careful to note that it represents a huge part of our resources that are being consumed by our people, and that the access represents an important route to ensuring that there's harmony between visitors and locals. So we have moved with energy and haste to prepare and fix local beaches that are appropriate and adequate and appointed for the purpose, so that our people will not be left out and we will feel less catered to because the beaches are not up to the standards.
How does this help or harm locals in the tourism sector?
We are now looking at management to ensure that there is good management here, so that the maintenance of these facilities can be secured and the further upgrading of what we have can be realized.
Who is responsible for the management, and How will it be guided?
Well, we developed the beach on behalf of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. And what the Municipal Corporation has done is to then go to tender and procure and find a suitable person to manage and to handle the facilities here. So they have done that, and they tell me that they have found someone, and we will be looking to ensure that they keep up to the standard that we want for the beach.
How much of a challenge was the transformation for this beach in particular?
It truly was a challenge, because as you can see, this is just a dust bowl. That's what it was. And with the black sand beach, it's sometimes a little more difficult to work with than the traditional white sand beaches. But I think that the teams did well. Our technical people from TEF and TPDCO, who drove the process, were enough to the task, and they did a great job. And I'm satisfied that it didn't take us as long as we thought. In fact, we figured it might have been a little over a year when we started, but we were able to do it within a year, and I thank them for that efficiency.
And that brings to a close the official opening of Markingstone Beach here in Onoto Bay, St. Mary. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them
I'm Shani Jajo, and you're watching Business Access.
The Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition was launched earlier this year to highlight the work of community organizations across Jamaica. This week on Caring Hands, we introduce to you 3 of the competition's top 6 finalists. The 6th place finalist, the We Care to Share initiative, was born out of a desire to assist the residents of the Franklin Town community in Kingston, Jamaica.
The We Care to Share initiative is a friendship evangelism outreach that goes about like a charity group, that goes about meeting the needs of our community members socially, whether it's education or even just spiritually. We had a lot of elderly persons who really don't have anybody, right? We had earlier in, I think it was December and November, we had several fires in the community. And what we actually did, we actually pitched in and said, let's rally up some stuff, let's get some grocery, let's get 1 and 2 beds donated to us to assist those persons. And certainly December was a fantastic moment for the We Care to Share initiative. We went out secretly, nobody knew we were going out, right? And we got a list from the community members, like they referred the older persons to us. And we're talking about persons who can't see, we're talking about persons who can't walk, we're talking about persons who just got a recent stroke, and persons who young, I think I had a 36-year-old man who got a stroke early and he really didn't have anybody to help, and you know, we actually went out there and just helped. So the Franklin Town Church of God is the We Care to Share initiative. We just actually mentioned as an outreach or a friendship evangelism outreach. Now the good thing is that our volunteers come from the church. We're not going out there saying, hallelujah, come on, come to God and do all of this. We're saying, let us help you. Let us be there for you. And I think it makes a much better impact. Persons don't feel like you're preaching down to them. They just feel like somebody really supporting them and somebody is there. Managing our resources is perfect. We have a financial aid person. We have someone that deals with the administration end of it. And then we have myself who handle the PR aspect of it and continue. I also have a project manager, Wayne Wesley, who assists as well. And I tell you, my pastor has been very supportive. You see, when you have the support from your church family, and then when you go out into the communities and you tell them, hey, we opened the resource center for your children, they say, what? It feels so good because you know that they are a part of it, and that's what you want. First, we started out just erecting a resource center here. That was in 2010. In 2016, we did a relaunch of the resource center and then introduced our social concerns of the community. At the resource center, we offer printing service. We have a computer lab. We have an outdoor study area as well as a little library. Go on with something. In addition, you get one-on-one assistance, and that's the best part. We have trained teachers who give up their time, come by the lab, and you kind of get some help with homework. When we first started the resource center in 2010, right, we got some computers. You remember them big back one day? Yeah. So those were what we had in our resource center. What we did in 2016 is a relaunch. We actually restored it, we removed those, we got more modern type computers now. And the good thing is that Digicel Foundation came on board. You see, we got we call it processor, a centralized processor. So now we have all the computers that are just attached to one unit thanks to Digicel Foundation, because trust me, we really needed it. So when the Digicel Foundation publicized the Face of Change competition, we thought, why not? I tell you, the workshop was a worthwhile experience for us because it actually helped us to come back to the drawing board. How are we going to plan for the year to assist our people that we want to assist, and who are we going to take on board? It also opened an opportunity for us to partner with other organizations who share the same mission, and that I believe was a plus to it. One of the things I like about the group that we're with, the We Care to Share initiative, is that we stand for 3 S's. We're soulful, we're sacrificial, and we're selfless. I have volunteers who come in and stay up all night just say, what are we going to do to help? And I like the fact that they're motivated by themselves to help. So we don't have to worry about volunteers one bit. Volunteers is here. But one of the challenges that we face sometimes is a timeline and the amount of persons that we would want to affect or impact. That can be a little bit challenging. Sometimes it's just too much and the resources are really not there. But the good thing is that we go out and we do that which we're called to do as Christians and as just human beings. We're here to look after our brother. We should be our brother's keeper, and I really believe in it. As the president, I really believe in it. And I try my very best at all time to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Many persons don't realize that our children are becoming fully affected either by home problem or school problem or just growing up. They're open to so much, and what's happening is that they have become withdrawn. I have 4-year-olds who are depressed, and I'm telling you, the other day he punched a wall and his hand got blistered, and when you have to look at that child and hold that child, it says a lot, right? And these are things we go out now and say, listen, let us encourage you. So what we did the other day for February 2017 is we went out into the neighboring schools and encouraged our Jesus students with a motivational tour. Boy, that was something. We went into schools where we didn't even know that they would have been so receptive. I had a child who walked over and said, boy, I'm gonna take my candle that Jesus up me, and as a guy, a little boy, and I was like, what happened? We can't do it, too much pressure, man, too much pressure. And it was remarkable just talking to him. We got calm. And we gave us some stickers that said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It was just an impact that we're looking at our children as just children. But then when we start going out and reaching them, we realize that they understand what they're called to be in today's society. We're true leaders.
The residents of the Franklin Town community are absolutely grateful for the help. Just ask Colin George Cole, who has benefited from the work of the We Care to Share initiative.
For Christmas, oh my God, I get my basket and I get my bags and I get some books and pen and things like those stuff. It was great. I wasn't expecting anything in the Christmas. And Sister Georgie just come across doing a great work to go to the community. She makes us feel so wonderful, and I very appreciate that.
The most rewarding thing about giving back is actually just the feeling that you get when you help somebody. I'm talking about not doing the most exuberant things, just the simple things. You making a difference, seeing that smile, seeing that impact, seeing that change is the most remarkable thing. One hand can't clap. We need to give back. We need to support each other because we're not just here for ourselves. The world tends to be going on a selfie vibe. You see, when persons realize how important togetherness and unity is, we'll understand the necessity of supporting each other on a journey. The impact is far more far-reached, but also you can see it, it's measurable. And you want a community, a Jamaica, a world at large that realizes that supporting, helping each other makes a superb difference, and the impact itself is much more valuable than anything else. We care to share. We care to share. We care to share. We care to share.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
Before being a part of the youth club, youth would be like, no, me not come at the station because me afraid of police, or the police them not nice. But actually being a part of the club, they notice that the police are actually human beings.
Be comfortable with your feet. Architect Medical provides podorthic services specializing in solutions for foot and lower limb conditions, providing relief for corns and bunions, heel pain, arthritis, and so much more. Shop for solutions such as insoles and comfortable footwear. Make an appointment today. Call us at 876-946-1548 or 876-632-9729-30. Visit us at 17 Monroe Road, Kingston 6, or send us an email at architectmedical@gmail.com.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop, or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357, or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Over 40 years ago, the Jamaica Constabulary Force introduced police youth clubs across the island in an effort to provide positive guidance for the youth of Jamaica. As a result, the 5th place finalists in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition, the Christiana Police Youth Club, was started in Christiana, Manchester.
Christiana Police Youth Club is geared towards building a better and safer and more friendly environment for the youth and citizens overall who live in and around Christiana area. The Police Youth Club was formed to get young people more actively engaged in police to citizen engagement. So the youth would be like a bridge to get people to see the human side of the police force. So we are in the CSSB part, that is the Community Safety and Security branch, where we are now doing community policing. So instead of sitting down at the station, the police will be in the community, actively engaging with people, with citizens, and so they can have a more holistic and sociable relationship. Christiana Police Youth Club has been around from about 2000. Yes, so it's 17 years. I've been a part of it for almost 11 years now.
The constitution of the club, a police officer has to be the leader. So a police officer is the leader, and separate and apart from that, other police officers get involved at various levels, whether it's in the fundraising activities, on the projects themselves, the work days, every aspect of it. The meetings, the weekly meetings are held right here at the station, and whoever is available at the time goes up and participates.
We do a monthly feeding project where we feed the homeless. We get donations from club members or business people in the community. We feed them. We are engaged in educational activities. Last year, December, we were the winner of the Manchester PYC debate competition. We are engaged in sporting activities like for netball or football or so forth. And we are engaged in welfare. If we see a need to help somebody that is poorer than us or really poor, we will get donations and help them. Henceforth, that is how we came up with the idea of building a house for this girlie.
Members of the Christiana Police Youth Club have reaped various benefits over the years. One such member is the club's current president, Roseanne Swaby.
So I joined the club in August 2014, and since then, 2015, I was the assistant secretary to Ms. Shanika Davis, and 2016, I was the secretary, and since this year now, I've been the president. Since I've joined the youth club, personally I've become more responsible because I have roles on my plate. Like being a secretary, I had to research what does being a secretary entail, so I learned a lot from being in that position.
Based on the projects that we have been doing, based on the outreach programs, based on our whole socialization with individuals, we have seen where young people have gotten jobs, schooling. They have changed their whole behavioral pattern. Seen when they come into the club and see the different environment, they are now eager to do something good, be a part of something good. So it has changed them in their behavior.
But from the inception of police youth clubs as a direct strategy, to community outreach, it has reaped benefits untold. Because as I said before, many of our present police officers in high ranking also came from the police youth clubs. And plus, you know, members of the youth club from the various communities will bring in new membership from the community. And even during their meetings and what is discussed and the interaction is brought back to the communities, so we don't get the impact there.
Through the Christiana Police Youth Club, many residents have since changed their opinions on the police.
First of all, we have a better relationship with the police officers, because before being a part of the youth club, youth would be like, no, me not come at the station because me afraid of police, or the police them not nice. But actually being a part of the club, they notice that the police are actually human beings and they're actually nice and they interact well with us and we learn from them and they come and they participate with us. So we have a better relationship with the police.
The relationship between the Christiana Police and the Christiana Police Youth Club is an inclusive one. It's like a relationship between a parent and a child. It is a relationship that involves partnership. Most of our outreach community programs, we integrate the Police Youth Club into it, because traditionally the Police Youth Club and the police, we get a lot of recruitment. A lot of the members of the Police Youth Club go on to become police officers. And it is a part of our community-based policing scheme and activities, because when we foster and mentor these young people, we get them into the right frame of mind, the right kind of thinking, the right kind of people to become good persons in the society.
In terms of membership, the membership fluctuates because members come and go depending on if they relocate or they go to school, or I don't know if they just lose interest, right? So we have members coming in and then some coming out. Some serve for a year, some have been here for over 5 years, and then some just go for a couple of months. So being committed is one of the major problems we have with the members of the club.
Even from a younger age, like 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds become involved. It helps because, you know, there are so many negatives out there in the society. Anything positive, the earlier it starts, the better. So just like how we're on a recruitment drive now for police officers, we could be on a recruitment drive also for police youth club members.
For Christiana, I would like to see the youth getting more involved in their communities. A lot of time when I'm coming home from work, I see them on the streets loitering. They could have used that time to do something constructive, like either coming to the club, helping out their community, or be doing their homework or something.
Giving back, first, it's a sense of fulfillment. And secondly, it's a way of building your own community. Because if you don't give back to your community, then nobody outside will come and give to that community. The community is for us, and we are the ones who is responsible to build that community. It gives us a sense of hope that further down, we'll have a better Jamaica. And young people do care, young people do want to make a change. And that will encourage us to continue. And we will always continue to be a face of change.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
I thought at first it was just a ruse to get some money, you know. Then I heard it was going to be, he wanted to feed some people homeless people he had seen on the street.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop, or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357, or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Finishing in 4th place in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition, the Feeding of the 5,000 is an organization that was started in 2012 by a then 17-year-old Jordan Bennett. What started out as a small birthday project has since grown into something even greater.
Let me tell you, when you see young people want to do something like this, it is a wonderful thing. And when it's, especially when it's one of your children. I thought at first it was just a ruse to get some money, you know. No, don't buy me a present or keep in a party. Just give me the money. I want to do something special. Then I heard it was going to be, he wanted to feed some people, homeless people he had seen on the street. Then I realized that I wasn't the only one who had he had approached, and he had a little budget. And all of the involvement, and people started to call me so that, you know, I hear they need a driver. And I realized it was something big.
I decided to do the feeding like a month before my birthday. So then instead of getting anything for my birthday, I just made them buy me chicken and all of that. So I did it actually the April in 2012. And having a conversation with my auntie, I was just saying, you know, Melanie, I really want to give back. And we were talking about like the Bible and all of that, and that's how we came up with the name. So the first feeding I had on a white t-shirt, and I had a marker and I read feeding of 5,000. And I just had put a name to it, and then my brother, he came and he took some pictures. He's actually a professional photographer. So after taking the pictures, he said to me, why don't you just make a page for it on Facebook? And I said, okay. And I made a page, and the December, we did 1,000 of the same year. And then after that, it just blew up at NCU, because at that time I was at NCU in Mandeville, and it blew up. At least 40% of the students there were wearing the shirts, because I got some shirts printed, and with the logo, we got a logo, and I got some shirts printed, and I said like one for $500 at the time. Just a way to raise money for the project. And then the whole population, because then about 10 persons started wearing, and everybody wanted one. So then it blew up. And yeah, that's how it really started. It just started as a one-off project, and then it just blew up into something that I never imagined at all.
Actually, I heard about it from a classmate of mine, and then I realized it was in the area. And I just say, oh, bored one day, let me just go to one of them conferences. It wasn't me planning to be a part of this thing and everything, and everyone there was just so nice and welcoming, and that was about 3.5 years ago. And throughout that time, I've developed a love for the organization, and I love to see things flow and go well on the days, so I've gradually become more involved in the organization to the point where I'm his right hand. Our Christmas feeding is usually the biggest event we have for the year. We get the members from the Golden Age home in Vineyard Town here to come here, and we have them under a tent at the front of the studio, and they just get to, you know, come out of their place for the day, and they get to dance with all of us, and we feed them, just make them feel good. So that's a part of the December feeding day, just making those members of the community feel nice, you know.
Going out on the feedings was an eye-opening and life-changing experience for most of the volunteers.
We had a lot of uptown kids who, this was the first involvement or witnessing of people living a certain way in Jamaica. And they were so moved. Some started to cry, some was just, I mean, when you hand somebody to food to somebody who hasn't eaten for days, and that gratitude. And I remember one lady said, when we gave her some stuff, oh God, the children can have breakfast tomorrow. And that was so moving to me, because you know, none of them had ever faced a situation where they didn't have breakfast the next day, because there was no food. And the reality had started to come in.
I feel like every time we have a feeding day or a grocery bag drive, and we go out there, it's like almost like a cleansing of yourself and your being when you see these people being grateful for what you're giving them. You kind of forget about all the little things that have been bothering you about your life and all of that. It's just, you just feel renewed at the end of the day when you go home after this event. You just feel like lighter with all the burdens, the little problems in your life that are, you know, different for other people. Something that we maybe hope to develop with this organization and what the government should do is to help them, not just, you know, you have different organizations like ourselves, not just feed them, but give them something to stand on, you know, maybe start some trade, some skills or something. And there's some of them on the road that really do have mental issues. They're not just homeless, but they have mental issues. So I think the government needs to step up in that case.
For anyone who has a desire to go into volunteerism, here's a bit of advice.
My advice is to start it, just start it. Don't even think you have to be feeding 5,000. When we mentioned feeding at 5,000, we just took it out of the Bible. It was just a number. I mean, none of us had any idea that it would go on to 10,000. None of us. But just start it and don't be afraid to dream, because it costs the same amount to dream, a small dream as a big dream. Just dream. And try and translate your dream into paperwork, something that somebody can read. Form an organization. I mean, it's a good way to start your business. Start a little business and get a team, get a committed team involving both children and parents. In other words, have different age represented on your team, because with age comes, you know, experience and knowledge. And luckily for him, he has people who will, you know, help him with the organizational stuff and things.
He has teachers, persons who used to work in banks and stuff like that, and always is a person that many Jamaicans today, and just all around the world, are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless. So you can't really think about, oh, they're homeless. Just walk past them. Even though it's kind of something that we used to know, because this homelessness is getting so popular in Jamaica. It's just something that we used to seeing now, but that's something that I don't want my heart to get used to seeing. So, and that's why I really want to get some volunteers involved. And honestly, the volunteers get much more sometimes than the person who actually feed, because a lot of the volunteers who come with us end up going and starting their own foundation. Who I can't reach, they can. You know, and I always encourage them, because with charity, there's no competition. It's all about working together to do the greater good, which is to spread love in whichever form that is.
For anybody that would like to come out and volunteer, or any sponsors that would like to help us in our endeavor to feed more people, please contact us. We would love it so much, and we'd be so grateful, and you'll be helping our nation.
Join us next week for another episode of Caring Hands as we share with you the top 3 finalists in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Hi, I'm Richard Panduit, CEO for the Separate Group of Companies. You're watching Business Access TV. We're serious about business.
Hi, I'm Winston Butler, producer of tropical wines, the brand The Butlers. What took me into this is a situation where you're not working. And that experience wasn't a nice one. I moved around for quite a while thinking, where am I going to find a job? I thought about going abroad. But I keep thinking, you know, get a job, what they're gonna pay me is not gonna be enough. So I thought I had an idea how to do wines, but I couldn't come up with what to really use to make wines. And I was traveling to Craftsville in Clarendon one day, and I was really meditating, going along. And when I reach up to leaving Yorktown and get up to Mountain Hill, I hear clearly a voice said to me, use sorrel. It was the first time, because I heard people talk about hearing voices and, you know, hear people, God speaking to them. And I begin to drive a little faster because I was actually going to a friend of mine who I used to get sorrel from, and I used to look market for him. And when the voice said, use sorrel, I get so excited. And I went up and I told him, and I said, listen, I'm gonna start using this to make wine. So I wanted to start planting. And he did. He actually started planting. And I took a good portion from him and started the wine. But when I started and having the first batch of wine come out, I went on the road and people was like, they don't really appreciate wine from sorrel because most people used to sorrel drink. So when they tasted it, they say, you know, it's not sorrel. I say, it is, but it's now transformed into wine. And wine is different from sorrel. Drink, really. So that's where it actually began. The business started in 2010. I started, you know, making wines. And what I would do, I would go around with samples and get feedback. I wouldn't tell the people who do it, but I would give it to them and they would taste it and they say, oh man, it tastes good, you know? And then when, you know, they'd say all the nice things, you know, I said, I made it. And I remember this gentleman, he's now deceased. It's a Catholic, he lives in Marant Bay. And he said to me one day, he came to the house and he tasted some. And, you know, he mentioned this fancy name with some wine overseas. And I said, man, where you get it, you know? How did you get this? And I waited for a moment and I said to him, I made it. And he looked at me and said, run with it. At that time, I had no intention in going into business. And I thought about what he said, you know, because this is a man who knows good stuff. And if he said, run with it, I need to run with it, you know? So I still go around doing sampling and so on. So the first thing that I did, I took a portion to the Bureau Standard. Because of course, all the stuff that I do, I go through them. So I took that portion there, have it tested and everything, you know, go through the ropes, and it was ready for the road. That was when I went on the road and started trying to sell some. There's a number of different wines that I do, and some of them, you know, is here, some is not here, some is actually in the process of coming into the fleet sooner or later. There is sorrel, there's Ribena, there's June plum, there's apple, there's moringa, there's Guinean weed, there's hemp wine. But there's quite a number of them that I'm actually doing. I also have Sirocci, and but that is not actually in the fleet yet. Hopefully it will be coming out this year. Currently this stuff is at a number of outlets because I actually do selected outlets based on the quality wines that I produce. The stuff is at Fontana Island-wide. The stuff is also at the moment St. Best Pharmacy. It is also at the pharmacy in Sparling. I basically catering to everybody. It's a everybody wine because this is a Jamaican product and it's good. and you don't want to leave out anybody. So basically, I'm targeting everybody. That's a risky one because when I mentioned, I remember I was talking to a bank manager, and he said, you don't have to use your fund, you know. We can lend you money. But I do understand what it is to borrow money and what it is to pay back. And if you borrow, you must prepare to pay back. So based on my little knowledge of business, if you're going into business and you're going to go under pressure, then you probably run into trouble down the road. So I decided I'm going to take my own risk. So I use my funds, which was very risky even up to now. But I could see better days now, having used my funds. I could go to my bed and sleep because I know tomorrow nobody will be coming looking for me and so on. And so I take my time and work with what I have and grow what we see here today. Sometimes it's tough, really tough, but I just hold tight with it because having this plan forward to really, you know, present a wine to the Jamaican people, and it's a good stuff. It takes time and everything, you know, that goes with it. The funds is over a period of time because everything didn't really come at the same time. But as the situation wants certain thing that I need to, you know, go forward, I would get money like for registration because you have to, everything with the government has to, it costs some money. And all of those, you know, I have to find money to do this, to register, to do my labeling. There's so many of them that I can't just remember them just now. But yes, there was a lot of funds involved. Little funds that adds up. There's no profit at the moment. I'm still operating at a loss. But where I'm at in terms of the quality product and where I'm going, I see better days now because I have had people who are actually calling and are showing interest in what I'm actually doing. And there are people who have actually showed the interest that sometimes I feel a little swell-headed, you know? So yes, I believe that this year is going to be a better year in terms of where I'm going. So maybe next time I can tell you yes. It was a plan because when I had the idea of the wine thing, I was actually living in Kingston. We had actually purchased this place, but we didn't finish, didn't complete yet. So I had this idea that I would have to design a place to definitely accommodate what I intend to do, which I did. And I've actually started doing the wines here, all the sampling and all the stuff that I carry on. Those were done here, having come down and then I go back to Kingston and so on. So that idea was there in terms of doing it here because I know I'm coming down. There wasn't a job to look for down here, so I had to create that, so yes. As a matter of fact, it's the best place that we could ever think of because what happens is that Mandeville is cool, not totally no, but in terms of what wine requires, I'm quite comfortable with that. It doesn't happen daily. I do set, whenever I'm going to produce, like say for instance, wine takes time. So you set up a batch of wine and you have to manage it until it actually becomes wine. It sits there for a good time until you're ready to bottle. Depending on the amount, let's say for instance, I'm doing like say 30 cases. That could take me a while. You have to firstly clean up your thing, them, you know, get them sanitized and all of that. And I do filling. And then after I do filling, I have to do labeling. After labeling, I have to do sealing. And after you seal, then you have to tape up the boxes and to make sure that they're in order for the road. It's a lot of work. I start like, say, sometimes 7 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I finish 10, 11 o'clock. And I mean, all I do is take a break, like, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but it's a straight through thing. Being an entrepreneur, currently, it fits in well with my lifestyle, really, because I do enjoy working and doing other stuff. So it's not really a problem, you know? I don't find it stressful. I don't find it prevent me from other activity. Currently, it slowed me down with some of the activities in church, but I still involved.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
This is Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall,
unsecured loans,
alleged corruption, follows the closure.
If they made this investment,
brokers
strive to increase revenues.
He sought some answers. Financial meltdown. Here are the week's final. Here's Gar. News Roundup.
Camille, it's back to you.
That's Weekend Business Report with me, Camille Gale, Saturdays and Sundays.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Butler's wine is different, and the reason why it is different, I believe that this is the first time in Jamaica that a company has been established that is doing wine that is made from herbs and fruit. And all of these herbs and fruit have excellent health benefit. So it is different because of the health benefit, and there are medical people who have, made comments on that in terms of the wines that I do and, the different type. At one, I remember there's this doctor lady who asked me one day, how comes did I get the Guinean weed wine so precise? Because it smells like Guinean weed but tastes like wine. And there's excellent benefit there, I've had people calling me and they're saying, I drank the wine and I see this. As a matter of fact, I'm learning from them what the wine is actually doing to them. Some of them, when they call and they mention what this wine has done, I actually go online and I look it up to see if they're really saying the truth. And yeah, they do, it does. So it is different because of what it has to offer. Because what I do comes from God, it's not a problem. He just sends them to me. And he sends to me ideas. Because all the wines that I do, I didn't just come up with it to make them. I am just inspired to do them. And they just come to me individually. That's one of the things that is so amazing about it, is that all the wines that I do comes individually and they all come different time, because the time that it takes to make, whenever I hear that voice that said, you need to do that one, I immediately begin to tells me, there's a direction as to how to do it, and it takes time. I used to do sales work, so I've had that wide connections with people out there. But one of the things to build a successful business based, is to have relationship with people, treat people right. Because if you don't treat people right, you ain't going anywhere. Sometimes you go out there and the response and the way people really react to you is not good, but you have to treat them good. You have to be nice to them because they are the ones that are going to take your business to where it needs to be had. And besides that, I love people. So I don't know of any enemy that I have. So I definitely establish a relationship through that. Life is not without challenges. And especially in making wines, it's a lot of challenge. But the challenges that I really face had to do with funding. Because I could remember I wanted some funds to really get some wine going. And I couldn't borrow because if you borrow, you have to pay. So I tried to borrow some from a family member. And they had lent me so much and helped me with so much that I believe that they get tired of me, But I feel a little discouraged, feel a little down, but I didn't allow it to stop me. I keep trying. And yes, it did come true. Because, one of the things that I learned is that God will test you or allow you to be tested when you're trusting him, to see if you really trust him. And yes, I have seen him coming through for me in every area that I'm working, you know. So all the challenges that I've really faced is not so much a challenge, it's just the experience of going through what I'm going through to get where I need to be at. Well, I really can't think of any failure, because all the stuff that I do, they're done so patiently. And I've been directed how to do them, so there's no room for that really. So I can't say there's any failure, you know. It has to do with relationship. If you do something or you say something and it might affect what you're doing, you have to apologize, you know. I have no problem with that, you know, and I live in that avenue, you know, and I don't know of any person that I've said anything to or done anything that would have created a problem for what I'm doing. What really happened is that when I started, because it's a new thing, and the experience in wine, I actually connect myself with a wine company from out of California. And I've also have a connection with a wine company in Toronto, which I still do get wine material from them. So anything that I see comes up and I didn't understand it, I would call them, I would email them, and they would send me the information immediately. So there was no room that anything would take me into a situation where I don't know where to turn because I don't understand what is happening. I would get the information from them. Currently, there's a gentleman that is doing some marketing, and I personally do most of the marketing myself. It's a bit tight to produce and to market, but based on what I'm doing, it's not so much a problem to produce and to market. So I do it timely. I take it one day at a time, step by step. I have developed and learned from a lady I was working with some years ago that all I need is one customer each week. And if I can get a customer each week, then certainly sooner or later I won't be able to supply them. So I'm working with that strategy. There's some work that is done on social media, but I'm not certain if I had made any sale through those medium. But I know for sure that, and word of mouth, people are, you know, telling the thing. I've had people calling me. Currently, there's also, on social media, there's a doctor guy, Marlon Herlock. He has actually placed his stuff on his website. And I've had people calling me from Europe, you know, through his website. He actually endorses all the product and love, you know, what is going on there. I've gotten some assistance through the Things Jamaica. They actually catalog what I do and send out flyers and so on. Because currently the product is at Iberostar, and it is the Things Jamaica who have done some work on it, why the product is there. And I'm sure there are others who will be coming on board soon. To really maintain and keep a good product is quality and consistency. And that's one of the things that I've been encouraged with the Bureau standard, the inspector, whenever he comes along, you know, he said consistency is key, because what it does, it actually allows you to deliver a good product and one that will last for a long time. So yes, consistency is the key. Firstly, one has to know God, because without him, where are you gonna go? I mean, you just can't go anywhere. And trusting him, he gives you the direction and the way forward. So everything that I'm doing, the entire beginning and continuation of Tropical Wines is based on trusting God and how he leads me. In business generally, success comes from how you relate to people. What you're delivering, what are you delivering, you know? You have to make sure that you deliver the best, because that is what really brings success. And then again, it goes back to consistency, you know? People want to know that what you're giving them, you know, they can trust this and they're satisfied with what you're delivering. So that will give you success. I never thought of fear, because fear is dangerous. I have a faith that is anchored in God, and he leads me. So no, if something negative comes up, I dismiss it, because I know the danger of fear. So my whole confidence is in God and where He leads me, you know. He manages what I do.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV, prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop, or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357, or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
For me to be doing wine, I have no idea that I would be doing this. The motivation comes, as I mentioned earlier, because I wasn't working. And the only thing that I thought of that I would really go into is to make some wine. And the truth is, I didn't really thought I would have reached this level, because it wasn't an idea to come this far. It was just to make some wine, you know. But whenever I'm doing anything, and it gives me a desire to just keep going. You know, I do something and it works if there's a challenge in terms of, you know, you want the thing to come to a certain level and it's not there. Once I face a challenge, I have to overcome it. I can't say that there's anybody who has really inspired me in terms of where wine is, because Jamaica is not really a wine country. I only have to say God is the one who has directed me this far. And if anybody should have inspired me, he's the only one, because he's the best winemaker. And we know that, you know, it's biblical. So I can say, yes, he's the one who has inspired me. My favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur is to connect with people. It feels good when you go out there and you share with people, they laugh, and they say, well, you know, I'm glad you come because, you know, you make me laugh. That means a lot to me. One word, God. My success is God, because when I looked where I'm coming from and where I'm at today, everything is God, because everything moves in time. And I tell you this, wine, if you don't know about wine and you're doing wine, you can lose a batch just like that, because wine can attract different things that would turn it into vinegar or something else. And I have never lost a batch, because whenever I'm going to do a batch of wine, there's this person that, and I know it's the Spirit of God who directs me how to do it. And like I say, if I see a difficulty come up and I don't understand it, I would email one of these wine places and they would tell me exactly what I need to do. The most satisfying moment for me is when I do sampling. And I do that quite a bit. I go around, you know, doing sampling, and people tasted the wine, and, you know, you see that smile on their face, and they'll tell you, I love this one, I love that one. It's really a good feeling, People are enjoying what you produce. I could say all I do is work, work, work. Working, working, working. Yes, I'm not sure if I have any such time, because I devote all my time to working, because I've not really had the opportunity to employ anyone. I have to use all the time and the opportunity I have to just put into the work. So if there's some work that I need to do, that I probably could leave it for another day, I have to do it like today, So it's working, working, working.
Troubled soul, the Savior can see.
Well, the Lord makes me happy, because there's moments when I played the guitar a little, and there are moments when I would plug in my amplifier and I would just sing Heavens Down. Because the moment singing and worshiping God brings a feeling that no person could really offer me. So worshiping God, it gives me all the feeling and the joy that I enjoyed. The plans for Butler's Wine forward is to continue to establish what I'm doing, make sure that the brand remains what it is, the quality, and to take it to the highest level, This wine can reach to the highest in terms of marketing, and I'm moving in that direction slowly but surely. You might be a person who doing a business, or you might be thinking about getting into business. The first thing that you need to do is to make sure that what you're going to do is that you register with the government. It's important more than you might even think. And secondly, you need to trust God in what you're doing and be patient with what you're going into. Because you can't be going into business and want to go into business this year and next year you reach there. It takes time, and it's a lot of patience that you have to exercise. So put God first. Make sure that the government is involved in what you're doing, because you want to know that when you set up your thing and you're going, you don't have to be looking over your shoulder. You know that everything is in line with what you're doing. You're in the right track. So yeah, God first, and then the rest follow.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.